Hi, darling. I just went and met Julianne and her fiancé. I'm on my way home now.
Well, that was pretty quick. You're already on your way back?
Yeah, we had a chat and we finished our lunch, so I'm going home now. I'm not good with small talk myself anyway. Julianne and her fiancé had somewhere to go afterwards, too.
So how was Chris, her fiancé? What was he like? Did he seem like a nice guy?
Yeah, he was a nice young guy, but I don't know, but I have a feeling that Julianne wears the pants in their relationship.
Well, I suppose that means they're going to be a good match.
Oh, and Betty dear, I'm sorry I had to go and visit them myself. I'm sorry you couldn't come with me this time.
It's okay, I knew it'd be like this.
I wonder sometimes if I just brought Julianne up the wrong way. I thought that she'd accept you once she became an adult, that she'd understand how much you've helped her. Julianne has always been quite headstrong, you know?
Don't say that, it's okay. I know you did everything that you could. It's my own fault that she doesn't accept me. I should have tried harder.
No, you did just fine, honey. You suddenly became her mom when she was an angsty teenager. Back then, Julianne was in a bad place. She said some terrible things to you. But you always tried your best to care for her and to become her family.
I think it must have been tough for her to have to come to terms with having a new mother. It was always just you and her, but all of a sudden, I came into the family. I knew it'd be difficult for her.
I do think we tried to take things step by step.
She's more of a daddy's girl than you think she is, Paul. It's because her own mother abandoned her and disappeared all of a sudden. She has trust issues towards other women.
But we've been family for over 10 years now. I wish she'd finally accept you as her own mother. You're my partner, and I always felt like you're too good for a guy like me, Betty.
It's enough for me to hear you think of me that way, honey. For Julianne, she considers her biological mother to be her real mother. It's understandable. I understand if she never comes to accept me as her mother. Although I do wish she'd think of me as a family or relative of hers that she can trust.
You say so, but you were so moved, and you even teared up when you heard about Julianne's engagement.
Oh, shush. I see her as my own daughter. After all, I did raise her ever since we got together.
Julianne. I wish she'd be able to think things through and reconsider how she sees you.
Things are never as simple as that. Human emotions are complex and messy. But I do wish we could become closer sometime in my life. Before I die, that is.
Oh, Betty, you're willing to wait that long for Julianne to come along? Once Julianne has kids of her own, she'll understand the love and care you gave her all these years.
Not everybody has kids after marriage these days, Paul.
Well, I would love to have grandkids.
Wait, you didn't tell Julianne and Chris that, did you?
Why? Was it wrong to tell them so?
Even a small comment like that can lead to a lot of pressure. You should be careful from now on.
Okay, I'm sorry.
But I guess if Julianne didn't invite me for lunch today, I'm not invited to her wedding either.
That's where I'll put my foot down. She can't keep you from going to the wedding. That's taking it too far.
Well, it is Julianne and Chris's wedding. If Julianne doesn't want me to go, it's fine. I won't.
But...
It's okay. I'll be fine.
Okay. If you say so, I won't say anything to them. Could I just bring it up a bit, slip it in the conversation? Like, why don't we ask Betty to come too? That sort of thing.
I don't think you should do that, Paul. Julianne's not going to like it. All I want is for her to have the wedding she wants. It doesn't matter whether I'm involved or not. Hey, don't you have plans to come over to ours anytime soon? Huh? Julianne? By ours, do you mean your neighborhood? That's right. You have plenty of time on your hands, don't you? I can show you around the area if you come. What happened? The other day you wouldn't even introduce me to your fiancé. It's up to me if I change how I feel. I've been thinking about stuff. Did your dad say something to you? No, not really. Really? Well, thank you for inviting me, Julianne. This makes me so happy. I'll have to talk to your dad about when we can visit. We'll have to book a plane and hotel and everything. You don't need to do that. I don't need Dad to come this time. Why not? I just saw him last month. I want to talk to you this time. Ever since I left the house after graduating high school, we haven't talked properly. That's because you wouldn't reply to my text messages. Look, I'm sorry. What the? I'm sorry for acting so immature around you. I always thought you were after Dad's money, but I was wrong. I know I was wrong now. I see. Okay then, perhaps I'll arrange to go to your area at the beginning of next month. That's when I finish a big work project, and then I'll get some time off. A big project? You always seem to have so much time on your hands, I barely remember you ever working. Did you start a part-time job? It may have seemed like that to you, but I've always been working, Julianne. Huh. As long as you come over. Hey, are you going to introduce me to Chris, your fiancé? Sure, I guess. Thank you, Julianne. I'll take some gifts for the both of you. Is there anything Chris doesn't like to eat? Does he have any food allergies? Nah, he eats everything. Okay then, I'll text you once again once I've arranged the tickets. Okay. I know you must be busy arranging the wedding. I hope everything goes well. I look forward to seeing you next month. Hey, Julianne, what have you done? You know exactly what happened. I'm asking you because I don't understand. Why did you just leave me at the airport after you came all the way by car to pick me up? Please come back. I'm not letting you in my car. You're no family to me. It's your fault for believing that I'd ever want to spend time with you. You're so stupid it makes me laugh. You wanted to act like you're my mom, so you came all the way here by plane. I'm not trying to act like anything. You just want to pretend to be my mom. Just hurry up and disappear from my life already. There's no transportation near the airport, by the way, so good luck walking home. You bitch. Scary. Did you just call me a bitch? It's the perfect name for you. You're an ungrateful bitch. I knew you hated me all along. I don't hate you, Julianne. I always treated you as if you were my real daughter. Although I only lived with you for 6 years, I've known you for over 10 years now. I was so happy to care for you and to watch you grow into a young lady. I know Dad may not have realized it, but I saw you for who you really are. I know who you are. You always wore designer clothing and had all those designer bags. It's obvious that you're using Dad's money for your things. Don't act like you're my mom when all you are is a slut married to Dad for his money. I didn't marry your dad for his money. You can make all the excuses you like. I'm going to be straightforward with you, Julianne. I'm not short on any money. Do you mean you have a sugar daddy or something? Someone else who sponsors your lifestyle? You really think that would be possible for me? You know what I look like. I'm in my 50s now. I'm old. I'm sure some people have a weird fetish for sluts like you. Since you're an adult now and you're all grown up now, I'm going to tell you the truth of what really happened. Your dad says I can tell you. What do you mean, what really happened? I own my own company, Julianne. You? A company owner? You were always at home when I lived with you. While you were still young, I tried my best so I could work from home. You were still in your adolescence and you were struggling, so I wanted to be there for you. You seem to think your father is rich, but he's employed by a normal company. He's a normal employee. What? Dad is the one who has his own company. Doesn't he own a small company or something? Well, he used to have his own company, but your mother stole money from the company. She even stole assets he owned. What the? So your dad had no choice but to close off the company. Apparently, the company was owned by both your mother and your father. I didn't know that. I know, he didn't tell you about this because he thought that you'd be worried. After the company went bankrupt, he started working day and night to earn enough money to be able to provide for you. You always had everything you need because of how hard your father worked. I was going to tell you all this after we dissolved the issues between us, but I'm sorry that I had to tell you this because of what happened the other day. Is this all true? If you can't believe me, just ask your dad to tell you. I've tried my best to help you and support you, Juliana. I know I may not have been perfect, but I always took care of you and looked after you because I love you. I didn't think you'd grow up to do something like this to me. I'm really disappointed with you. Dad, what is that woman doing right now?
You mean Betty? She's watching TV in our living room.
I want to apologize to her, but it seems like she's blocked me on her phone. I've called her so many times, but she's not answering.
I think you went a bit too far this time, Julianne.
This is all because you didn't tell me the truth sooner. I didn't know I was living off of her money all the while I lived with you two.
I'm sorry I didn't tell you sooner, Julianne. I promised Betty that I wouldn't tell you the truth until you had opened up to her more.
Why not?
What would you have done if you knew that Betty was paying for everything and your expenses? You wouldn't have been able to talk to her honestly. You wouldn't have been able to be yourself around her.
That's not true.
You know, I didn't even have enough money to pay for your college tuition, much less your living expenses when you started living by yourself. If you knew that Betty's money was involved, you would have felt hesitant to be honest with us. Betty was worried that you may not be able to tell us how you really feel.
But I mistook the situation because you didn't tell me anything.
I don't think mistook is the right word to use here, Julianne. I think you wanted to believe that Betty was a bad person. You just blamed Betty for everything. You thought she was the reason your mother left, didn't you?
That's not exactly true.
You were still young. It was understandable that you weren't able to accept Betty back then. But you're a fully grown adult now. You're about to get married. Don't you remember how Betty prepared breakfast and dinner every day? She did all the chores around the house. She even went to pick you up when you got in trouble with the police. Yet you tricked her into going all the way to visit you, and then you left her stranded alone at the airport.
I didn't really think she'd show up.
Yes, you did. Did Betty ever once break a promise she made to you? You did all this just to hurt her feelings, Julianne. I'm so disappointed with you.
Well, to be honest, my fiancé said that it was rude not to at least greet my stepmother, and it pissed me off that Chris said that.
That has nothing to do with Betty, does it? I've told you this before, but you've always taken your bad mood out on Betty. If it wasn't for Betty, you'd already be abandoned.
I'm sorry.
It's not me you have to apologize to.
I'll apologize to Betty, so please let me talk to her just for a little bit.
Okay, but don't get your hopes up. Just know that Betty was really excited when you told her to go over to visit you. She was looking forward to that trip. You may not have noticed because she's usually not a very emotional person, but she was over the moon after you invited her to see you.
I'm sorry.
I'll hand my phone over to Betty, okay?
Okay. Your dad told me that you want to apologize to me? Betty? Wow, it's been a while since you've actually called me by my name. I suppose it is. I wanted to tell you that I'm really sorry for what I did to you at the airport. I never knew how you helped me and my dad. Well, that's okay, Juliana. I helped out because it was what I wanted to do. When I first met your dad, his life was a mess. Once I started helping out, your dad and I began to talk and we ended up getting married. I didn't want to concern you with the financial situation anyway. You were only a child. You had a difficult enough childhood already at that point. I knew that my dad needed somebody to support him, and I knew I wasn't the one that could support him, so I was fine with him getting remarried. It was just a bad time for me. I know, Juliana. I know how rebellious you were as a child. I'm sorry, Betty. You always looked after me, and yet I think I regret what I did. I even heard that you were thinking of paying for our wedding and giving us some money for our new house. I heard you talk to your dad about not having enough money for your wedding. Well, I have this specific venue that I'd like to have my wedding at, and it's a bit expensive. I'll pay for your wedding expenses, Juliana. You will? Oh, thank you, Betty. But you'll have to pay for the house by yourselves. Huh? Juliana, you purposefully did something to hurt my feelings. I'm not going to help you anymore after this. This is the last time I do anything for you. I'm cutting ties with you. I bet you're happy to finally be free of me. Wait, Betty, it was a misunderstanding. I didn't know the truth. I didn't know anything. This is to do with morals and respect. Even if you hate me, there was no need to do something so cruel to me. You decided to hurt me and damage our relationship, what was left of it. So this is the end result of your actions. I said I'm sorry. Come to think of it, I think I've been spoiling you far too much. I thought I'd at least make sure to support you financially when you needed help. But you seem to think you can just take money from me and your father whenever you want. We hadn't decided yet whether to help you pay for your house. I'm sure he didn't tell you that he'd pay for it, did he? But you always help me when I need help. That's what you always do. Just think about how much money a house is going to cost. Please, Betty, we won't be able to pay for a new house with just our own savings. You don't need a brand new house straight after getting married. Chris seems like a nice man. You both need to work hard and save up. What I'm saying is that if you pay for the house, I'll finally accept you as my mom, as family. I can't believe you're saying this to me after what you did to me. You amaze me with how absurd you're being. I don't care if you don't accept me as your mother. See, you don't consider me to be your daughter or your family. You wouldn't be so mean to me if you really thought I was your daughter. Juliana, how self-absorbed and selfish you have to be. I am scolding you because I think of you as my family. You're a grown adult now. You must know how hard it is to earn money. Money doesn't just grow from trees, you know. No way. I want my own house with my own garden. Then you'll have to work and save up and build one yourself. Dad told me that you own a company. I know you have the money to pay for my house. I promise I'll call you Mom if you help me out. You don't need to do that. Why are you being like this? I apologized so many times. Why won't you forgive me? I don't need a daughter who takes pleasure in tricking people. If you really want to apologize, show me by your actions. Prove to me that you've really changed. This is going to be my last message to you as your mother. I thank you for letting me experience being a mother, even if it was being a stepmother. You were a pain in the ass, but it was a good experience, no doubt. For the next couple of days, Julianne kept texting me saying that she was sorry, but I didn't reply to her. I knew that we both needed time to think things through. After a while, I received an invitation to Juliana's wedding. With it, she sent me a letter. She had written how she wanted to change her ways and that she wanted me to see her growth as a person. I don't know how sincere her words are, but I was happy to hear what she said, so I have decided that I'll go to her wedding. From now on, I'm going to be honest to Juliana and tell her how I really feel. Somewhere deep inside, I'd been hesitating to be upfront with her because she was my stepchild. I had gone too far to abide by her wishes and give her everything that she ever asked me for. Now I know that being overly kind to her was a bad idea. Some people mature as they age and are able to see the bigger picture of things, but some people need real confrontation to notice their mistakes and errors. Since I only looked after Julianne from when she was a teenager, I have no right to teach anyone how to be a good parent. But the one thing that never changed is how important Juliana is to me. I still consider her my own daughter. I don't know what will happen in the future, but I will support my daughter who has finally decided to change her ways.